I'm attorney Doris, Dike, coming to you from Dike Law Group. And here today, I'm going to teach you about the False Claims Act as it relates to your infusion business. Now, as a healthcare attorney, I see a lot of healthcare entrepreneurs, providers, and advanced providers wanting to start an infusion business to their existing practice, wanting to have a separate infusion business that's completely separate from their business, or they're really interested in getting to infusions. They know it can make a lot of money, but they don't know what to do. Now, if you're in any of these groups, it's important for you to consider the False Claims Act if you are really serious about starting an infusion business. Now, the False Claims Act is a federal law that makes anyone liable if they bill falsely or incorrectly under federal dollars. This rule also applies to commercial payers as well. What I often see when considering the False Claims Act is people really don't have a full understanding of this law. And they should if they're really wanting to start really any healthcare business. Primarily because in 2021, the federal government went after $5.6 billion in False Claims Acts settlements and judgments. Again, that number does not indicate the amount of people who were arrested and indicted for False Claims Acts matters. Now, turning back to infusions, one might say, well, what does this really have to do with your infusion business? Well, if you're trying to bill Medicare, then you really do need to really consider the False Claims Act in your infusion business. Take, for example, the Miami doctor who was 63 years old, who was just arrested in August and now will be serving 5 years in jail for violating the False Claims Act. In this scenario, this Miami doctor had a medical practice and added an infusion business to his medical practice. The infusion business billed for expensive infusion drugs that treated Crohn's disease and other types of medical ailments. However, that medical doctor never saw any patients, but still billed for the expensive infusion drugs. And in fact, each infusion vial was worth $10,000. When this doctor was arrested, they confiscated and forfeited all his properties. Those properties were purchased with cash. Now, turning back to you, you might say, well, I'm going to have an infusion business, but I'm just not going to bill any insurance. I'm going to have a cash-based business. And that might be your first solution to this problem. The problem with that is if you want to have a very robust infusion business and you just have a cash-based business, you might be leaving a substantial amount of money on the table. Now think about it. If you're going to have a business and your infusion drugs cost $10,000 a vial, it might be very challenging for your patients to pay for the drug. So that might not be a solution if you're going to bill for a neurology infusion business, a rheumatology infusion business, a cancer-based infusion business. You might also be thinking, well, okay, I'm not going to bill federal dollars when I have my infusion business. I'm going to just bill commercial payers. Well, that might not also be the best solution as well. Again, you still have to consider the False Claims Act. When we turn back to the story about the Miami doctor, this doctor only billed United and Blue Cross, yet and still the government stepped into that case and tried to recover the money and indicted the physician. So, just saying that you're not going to bill federal dollars is no longer an option. The better solution and the best solution is for you to meet with your healthcare attorney. If you're really considering adding this type of business to your practice, you and your attorney should go through the types of scenarios that you can do that will have you not violate the False Claims Act. Now, again, the False Claims Act is a very complicated law that your attorney should go over the law with you and the scenarios to make sure you're not violating that law. This is not something that you should guess on and should not go out alone. Now, if you are thinking about adding infusions to your business and you would like to meet with an attorney, then you should reach out to Dike Law Group. We'd be happy to look over your scenario and look over what you're trying to do and see if it makes sense within the False Claims Act. You can reach out to me at our website at dklawg.com, or you can schedule a meeting on our calendar at dorismeet.com. Thanks so much.